All right, ready to dive in. Today we're looking at Shoghi Effendi's letter, The Advent of Divine Justice.
Oh, this is a good one.
I know, right? A letter from 1938. But it's amazing how relevant it still feels, especially when we think about unity and all the challenges facing us today.
You're absolutely right. It's like he was looking into the future, you know? Shoghi Effendi, he led the Baha'i faith in the first part of the 20th century. Yeah. But he wasn't just speaking to, one specific religious community. He was laying out a path, a blueprint, really, for all of humanity, a guide to creating a more just and unified world. And he addressed both the West and the East.
Both sides of the world. So what kind of obstacles did he see on this path to unity?
Well, for the Western Baha'is, he pointed to three major things holding them back: materialism, individualism, and racial prejudice. He saw materialism, this, constant need for more possessions, more comfort, as a sort of spiritual dead end.
Yeah, it's like we're so busy chasing after things, we forget what really matters.
Exactly. Our shared humanity, the things that truly matter, they get lost.
It's funny you should mention that, because I was reading an article just the other day about how, this cult of busyness, it's actually making us more isolated and less happy.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe Shoghi Effendi was really onto something, but he didn't just stop at materialism.
Right. He also saw individualism as a potential problem.
Okay.
Now, individualism, of course, it has its good points, encourages people to be self-reliant, take initiative. But when it goes too far, it becomes a me-first culture. And people are less likely to sacrifice for the common good, see themselves as part of a larger whole.
Yeah, it's like the every man for himself kind of thinking. That can really get in the way of unity.
Exactly.
Then there's racial prejudice, which you mentioned before.
Yes, and Shoghi Effendi, he didn't shy away from this issue. He was very clear, I said racial prejudice was the most vital and challenging issue, especially for American Baha'is. And it wasn't just a side comment. He really saw how America dealt with this, or didn't deal with it, as a test of its commitment to justice and equality.
I can't get over how relevant that feels today.
Right.
It's like he was reading the news headlines from 2024. Amazing. But his message, it wasn't just for the West, was it?
No, not at all. Shoghi Effendi was also concerned about the challenges facing Eastern Baha'is. He cautioned against clinging to cultural pride, especially the idea that, the Baha'i faith was just an extension of Persian culture.
Okay.
He really hammered home the point that this faith was about global unity, not about one culture dominating. Any kind of superiority, he said, would create barriers between people and hinder the faith's progress.
So it was really about making sure the Baha'i faith remained open to everyone, regardless of their background.
Yeah.
Truly universal.
That's it. He also cautioned against resisting change. He encouraged Eastern Baha'is to let go of traditions that didn't align with the faith's, progressive principles, especially those customs and practices that perpetuated inequality, like rigid social structures or limits on women's rights.
Right. So it's this call to action that goes beyond time and culture. It's for all of us, right? To look at our own biases, our assumptions, and strive for a world where unity is more than just an idea, but a reality.
I think you've summarized it perfectly. But, Shoghi Effendi didn't just leave us with a bunch of lofty principles and say, good luck with that. He gave us a roadmap. He outlined specific moral and spiritual qualities essential for reaching true unity.
Ooh, okay, this is getting interesting. So what are these qualities? How do we actually develop them in our own lives?
Well, the first one might surprise you. It's chastity and purity.
Wait, chastity, really? In today's world, how does that even relate to unity?
I know, it might seem a bit out of place, but Shoghi Effendi, he was deeply concerned about what he called the moral laxity of modern society. And he believed that this decline in moral standards, it makes it harder for us to trust each other and build strong bonds.
When you put it that way, it makes sense. If we can't even trust each other to be honest in our personal relationships, how can we build a society based on unity? It's like, building a house on sand.
Exactly. It all goes back to trust. Shoghi Effendi wasn't saying we have to go back to some super strict way of life, but he was talking about living with integrity, being true to our word, and treating each other with respect. Consideration,
So it's more about personal responsibility than just following a bunch of rules.
Absolutely. It's recognizing that our actions have consequences. Choosing to live by a strong moral compass, it's like an act of service to humanity.
Wow, I'm really seeing this in a new light. So chastity and purity, they're about building that solid foundation of trust. What other qualities did he talk about?
Another big one is humility. He warned against arrogance. In all forms, whether it comes from our social status, our intellect, our race, anything that makes us think we're better than others.
Yeah, arrogance can really destroy unity. It breeds division and resentment. What did he suggest we do about it?
He called for detachment, a willingness to let go of our ego, our attachment to possessions, achievements, all that. True humility, he said, comes from realizing that everything we have is a gift, and that our purpose is to serve something bigger than ourselves.
It's so easy to get caught up in our own little worlds. We're always bombarded with messages telling us to strive for more, be better, get ahead, But I think what Shoghi Effendi is reminding us is that true fulfillment, it comes from connecting with something larger than ourselves, something beyond just our desires and ambitions.
You got it. It's about shifting our perspective, recognizing that our well-being is tied to the well-being of everyone else. Which brings us to the third quality he emphasized, probably the most important one. Justice.
Okay, justice, yeah, you can see how that fits in. But what did he mean by justice? Was it about legal systems and fairness in the courts?
It was much broader than that. He saw justice as this guiding principle for all our actions, as individuals and as a society. Transparency and accountability, he said, were crucial, not just in our laws, but in all our institutions and even in our personal relationships.
So it's not just about following the rules or making sure everyone gets an equal slice of the pie. It's about creating systems that are truly equitable and just from the ground up.
Exactly. It's about a society where everyone has an equal chance to thrive, no matter their background or circumstances. And it's about cultivating a deep sense of integrity that guides everything we do.
This is really making me think. So Shoghi Effendi, he didn't just want us to talk about unity. He wanted us to live it.
Right.
By embracing these qualities, chastity, humility, and justice, we can transform ourselves and create a world where unity is real, not just a dream.
And that's what makes his message so powerful. It's not just criticism, it's a path forward, a set of tools we can use to build a better future.
Wow, this has been incredibly insightful. But Shoghi Effendi didn't stop at just outlining these inner qualities, did he? He talked about concrete actions we can take to put these principles into practice.
You're exactly right. In fact, he gave some very specific advice on how to tackle those very challenges we've been talking about, from racial prejudice to cultural superiority.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's dive into those concrete actions next time. Okay, so we're back, and I'm ready to get into the nitty-gritty. How do we actually take these profound ideas and put them into action in our lives?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Shoghi Effendi was very specific, especially when it came to racial prejudice. Remember how he called it the challenge for American Baha'is?
Yeah.
He gave very clear instructions on how to combat this head-on.
I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Yeah.
What were some of those instructions?
Well, one of the most striking things was the emphasis on forming real friendships across racial lines. He saw personal relationships as, the key to breaking down barriers, building those bridges of understanding. It's hard to hold on to prejudices when you're sharing meals, having a laugh, just living life with people from different backgrounds.
That's so true. It's about going deeper than the surface level and really connecting with people on a human level.
Yeah.
What else did he suggest for tackling these racial divides?
He also encouraged Baha'i communities to work toward integration, making sure their spaces were truly welcoming to people of all races and ethnicities.
Right.
It wasn't just about avoiding discrimination. It was about creating a culture of belonging where diversity was celebrated and everyone felt valued and respected.
It's not enough to just be colorblind, right? We need to acknowledge and appreciate the richness that different cultures bring.
Exactly. And Shoghi Effendi didn't stop there. He also encouraged Baha'is to be advocates for racial justice in the wider society, challenging them to use their voices, their actions, to dismantle discriminatory laws and practices wherever they existed.
So it was a multi-pronged approach, tackling prejudice at the personal, the community, and the societal level, changing hearts and minds and changing systems. Did he offer any specific guidance for overcoming that feeling of cultural superiority that we talked about?
Absolutely. He saw it as another big obstacle to unity. And he really stressed the importance of education and awareness. He encouraged Baha'is to actively learn about other cultures, to move beyond stereotypes and appreciate the unique contributions each one makes. He believed that knowledge and understanding could help dismantle prejudice and allow us to see each other as fellow global citizens.
It makes me think of that saying, travel is fatal to prejudice.
Yes.
When we experience different ways of life, different perspectives, it broadens our horizons, helps us see the world through a wider lens.
Exactly. And along with education, he emphasized a global perspective. He wanted Baha'is to see themselves not just as members of a particular nation or culture, but as citizens of the world, connected to a global community. This global mindset, he believed, was essential for a more unified world.
It's amazing how relevant that message feels today, with our world becoming more and more interconnected. Globalization, technology, it's all made it easier to connect with people from all over, and embracing this sense of global citizenship is more crucial than ever. But Shoghi Effendi's vision wasn't just about individuals connecting across cultures, right? He also spoke about the role of the Baha'i administrative order in fostering unity.
You're right. He saw the Baha'i administrative order with its focus on consultation as a powerful framework for building unity, for resolving conflicts. He put a lot of emphasis on this process of consultation. It's at the heart of how Baha'is make decisions.
Can you remind me what consultation actually involves? I've heard the term, but I'm not entirely sure what it looks like in practice.
It's all about collaboration, respect, and finding the truth. It's about coming together with humility, open hearts, sharing perspectives, really listening to each other, and working toward a consensus.
So it's not about winning an argument or pushing your own agenda, but genuinely seeking what's best for the group, even if it means letting go of your own preferences.
That's it, exactly. Recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer. And often, the best solutions emerge when we combine those diverse viewpoints. Shoghi Effendi believed that this consultative approach, when done with sincerity, could be a powerful tool, not just for resolving conflict within the Baha'i community, but for building unity and cooperation in all areas of life.
You know, it makes me think about how often conflicts arise from a lack of communication and understanding. We get stuck in our own positions, we don't listen, and that creates more division. But imagine if we approach those conflicts with humility, a willingness to truly listen. Could consultation be the key to bridging those divides?
I think that's the beauty of Shoghi Effendi's vision. It's not just theory. It offers these practical tools that we can use anywhere, in our families, workplaces, even on a global level, creating a culture of dialogue and collaboration where differences are seen as opportunities for growth and understanding.
This has been eye-opening. Shoghi Effendi's vision of unity, it's not just about warm feelings. It's about concrete actions, about embracing certain principles, about a process of transformation, both individually and collectively. I'm curious, though, to know more about what this unified world, this world where diversity and harmony exist together, would actually look like. What was his ultimate vision for humanity?
That's the core of his message, isn't it? And it's important to remember that Shoghi Effendi wasn't talking about some boring utopia where everyone thinks and acts the same. He wasn't calling for uniformity. He believed that true unity actually embraces diversity, celebrates it.
We've spent this deep dive really digging into Shoghi Effendi's The Advent of Divine Justice. Talked about those challenges to unity, like materialism, prejudice. Explored the qualities we need to develop, like chastity, humility, justice, to make way for a more unified world. But I gotta know, what did he actually picture? What would this world where unity wins, actually look like?
That's the big question, right? And it's important to understand, Shoghi Effendi wasn't talking about everyone being the same, thinking alike, acting alike. It wasn't about uniformity. He actually believed that real unity, it embraces diversity, celebrates it even.
So not erasing our differences, but finding a way for them to work together, to harmonize.
Exactly. He saw a world where all these different cultures, traditions, perspectives, they could not only exist side by side, but actually make each other richer, better. Like imagine a tapestry woven with threads of all these different colors, each one unique, but together they make something beautiful.
I love that image. But how do we get there? How do we achieve that kind of harmony when the world feels so divided?
Shoghi Effendi believed it starts with changing how we understand what it means to be human. We're all connected, he said, spiritually and materially. What happens to one of us, it affects us all.
So it's deeper than just being polite or tolerating differences. It's about recognizing our shared humanity, seeing ourselves as part of one big global family.
Exactly. And he made it clear that real unity, it can't just be on the surface. It has to come from within, from a change in our hearts and minds, letting go of our prejudices, our ego, our attachment to material stuff, and embracing a higher purpose, working towards the good of humanity.
You know, listening to you describe this, it reminds me of that powerful quote from Shoghi Effendi. The rectitude of conduct, the purity of chastity, the freedom from prejudice, the undeviating loyalty to all that God has revealed. These constitute the highest of all missions for the followers of Bahá'u'lláh in every land and in every clime.
That really sums it up, doesn't it? It's a call to action for all of us, no matter who we are or what we believe, to aim higher, embrace justice, live with integrity, and work together to create a better world.
It's a huge task, but it's also incredibly inspiring. Gives me hope that a better world is actually possible. A world where we celebrate diversity, uphold justice, and choose unity over division.
And that hope, that's what drove Shoghi Effendi. He truly believed humanity could reach this unity, that it's our destiny to create a world of peace, justice, harmony.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the advent of divine justice, I'm left with a renewed sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of the challenges and the possibilities ahead. What really sticks with me is this. Building unity, it's not some abstract idea. It's something we do every day, in the choices we make, the words we speak, the actions we take.
Absolutely. And the biggest takeaway, we don't have to wait for some perfect future to start living these principles. We can start right now, wherever we are, by cultivating those qualities: chastity, humility, justice, reaching out to those who are different from us, working together, consulting with each other, like Shoghi Effendi talked about.
It's a journey, not a destination. A journey we take together. So I'll leave you with this. What's one thing you can do today in your own life to help create a more unified, more harmonious world? Maybe it's a small act, but every bit of kindness, every effort to bridge those divides, every choice for justice and integrity, it moves us closer to that vision, a vision of a world where unity wins.